What's up, y'all? It's time for In Traffic with KevOnStage. I have it in my reminders to go and buy a car mount. I had one. I let a friend borrow it who is of the same skin color as I, and they have not returned it. So I'm gonna buy one and put it right there so I can focus, not worry about the camera falling. I didn't make an In Traffic with KevOnStage yesterday because I needed to call my mom and dad. Because my mom, this is why I have to do the tripod. It's already getting on my nerves. My mom gives me the biggest guilt trips because I don't call her enough. So I like to call her once a week. And I was realizing that I hadn't called her in like a week or so. About a week ago, she got mad at me. So that's why I called her and my dad. I very rarely call my dad, mainly because he doesn't guilt trip me. My mom and my grandma give me the biggest guilt trips about not calling them. Just like, oh, it would be so nice to talk to you. I know you're a busy man, but you're still my son. I just want to talk to you, make sure you're okay. I love you. Ah! That is so annoying. I'm literally like thinking of another way I could do this, and there's nothing else I can do until I get this thing. Sorry, guys. Just gonna have to deal with it until Saturday, hopefully. I'll probably take a break on In Traffic with KevOnStage, over the Christmas break between the 19th and the New Year, because we are off for 2 weeks. So I won't be in traffic. To be In Traffic with KevOnStage, I'll be at home. And I will just be watching Netflix and stuff. I hope to finish Entourage with my wife. We started on like the last season. I need to finish The Sopranos by myself. She's not a huge fan, and she watches it with me, but she doesn't care about it. Band of Brothers is on my list. I know I won't get to all of these, but if I can do some damage on The Sopranos, and I'm just so looking forward to relaxing. I want to thank you for emailing me. I think Sandy Walden. She emailed me like so many questions today that I can almost build a whole show just based off her email. So this is how this works. You guys can comment below. Kev, here's some topics for In Traffic with KevOnStage, or feel free to email me. And I just have this little notebook, and I just write down the stuff. And when I get done with it, I just cross it off. So just like Dear KevOnStage, you can ask me questions. Feel free to say, Kev, on In Traffic with KevOnStage, you can talk about this or talk about that, and I'll do it. So today we're talking about Christmas. A couple of different people asked me about Christmas stuff, so I'm going to lump it all into today's Christmas episode. And the first thing is on what's on your Christmas list for me. Here's the thing. When I was a kid, my dad would be like, you know, Dad, what do you want for Christmas? And he would never want anything. He would always be like, oh, you know, I'll just get you guys something. He didn't buy gifts for us or my mom, but he never really cared about gifts for himself. And I just realized when you guys asked this question, I've become that dad. I don't really care. I don't want to say I don't care for Christmas. I do care for Christmas. I love Christmas. I love Jesus. I love celebrating and spending time with family and drinking hot cocoa and opening the kids' gifts. But now that I'm a parent, I enjoy the look on my kids' faces more than I enjoy like getting something. You know, I want for my car, the auxiliary cord is broken. Like you plug it in, it cuts out, it's in and out. So when I listen to the aux cord, I have to use this little like fake Beats pill, which I don't mind. So in the new car that I got, that I gave to my wife, Always happens like that. I have a Bluetooth speaker system, so you can like don't even have to use an aux cord, and when somebody calls you, it rings through the car and you can answer it on the car. That's all I want. And it's not even really for Christmas. I just want it. If I don't get it for Christmas, I can just get it anytime, or for my birthday, or just on March 17th. But for the most part, I'm not big on Christmas gifts. I don't need to wake up and have anything under the Christmas tree for me. Anything in my stocking. I don't need any of it. If my wife and kids are happy, I'm happy. And I'm not even like cliche trying to be like, oh, Kev's such a good guy. It just somehow, like, as I aged, the priority for me now, I wasn't always like this. But as I got married, you know, when you are like, I love the thought of my wife going out and giving me a gift. My kids, I love when they make stuff at school for me. They're like the little kid. I mean, they don't have no money. The money that I don't give them. But I love the stuff that they make, you know, with like pictures and like Christmas cards. I love that more than like, you know, them actually getting me stuff. And it's funny because Melissa's family, they buy their parents gifts for Christmas. And in my family, we don't. I don't buy my parents stuff for Christmas. They don't really buy stuff for me for Christmas anymore either. We both have just decided we are grown. We love you from afar. Melissa's family, they still do Christmas gifts for each other, and I'm like, that's cool, you know, that's great. But in my family, it's just, we call each other, say Merry Christmas. As much as possible, we like to visit. It's much easier for me to visit my family now that I live in LA. This is one of the best parts of living in LA. In Washington, my nearest family member that wasn't Jason or Monique, Melissa's sister, my nearest parental or grandparent family member was like 30 hours away in Texas. But now my grandma's only 12 hours away, and my parents only live 8 hours away from my grandma on the other side. They live in Central Texas. My grandma lives in West Texas, and then we live on the West Coast. So, and my aunt lives in Houston, which is about 10 hours, which is like kind of like Central South Texas or South Central Texas. No relation to South Central California, Los Angeles. So like for Thanksgiving, me and my wife and kids drove 12 hours over. My parents and aunt and them drove 8 hours over. And we all got to see each other. Next year, my grandma was like, we should just meet in Vegas for Thanksgiving because I don't really feel like cooking. And I was like, that's a fantastic idea. Because Vegas is only like 4.5 hours from me, and the food is amazing. It's expensive on holidays, but it's amazing. There's still some Cirque du Soleil shows that I want to see. So I'm like, yeah, baby, I'm down with that. I'm down with that, kids. So, you know, it's more about spending time with me. So I can't even think of 2 or 3 things I would want. I'm more of a practical person. I wanted the iPhone 6 mainly so that I could make videos and have the storage space. Wasn't like, to me, the phone difference from the 5 to 6 is negligible once you update iOS. But for me, going from 16 gigs to 64 gigs is a huge difference. With a 16 gig, there's no way I can even record in traffic with KevOnStage because my phone wouldn't have had the space. Now I have like all my music on there, 959 songs that I like. And I could still record an hour of video because I have the space. So now I don't think I can ever go back to 16 gigs. I might even get 128 gigs and just use this as a backup video hard drive. I can save some memes. My group chat game is working better because now I can save some memes and do fun stuff like that. So yeah. But I am curious to know, question of the day, ding, 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 ding. Question of the day, what is on your Christmas list? You know what's on mine? New speaker system. Not really for Christmas, just for practicality. But I'd love to know what's on yours. So the next question is, what are your Christmas memories? You know, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. Because there's no pretense. I don't have to worry about gifts, going to the malls. I hate going to the mall when there's a million people there. Everything about Black Friday, I detest everything about Black Friday. Like, even for sales, I'd rather pay more or pay the normal price than to go deal with the crowds for Black Friday. I don't even like holiday increased traffic at the mall. You know, like between Thanksgiving and Christmas, the mall is just insane. I hate that. I don't like large crowds when I'm shopping. I don't mind large crowds. Like, I'm not afraid of them, but I don't mind large crowds at concerts, at amusement parks, at the airport, but I hate large crowds shopping. I like when Melissa is more like this than I am. As far as what I'm not about to say, when she sees a long line, she'll have something in her hand that she wants to buy, and then when she sees the line, she's like, you know, I don't even want this that bad. I don't even want this bad enough to stand in line for 7 minutes. And I'm the same way, man. She's worse than I am. Because if I do want something, then I'll stand in line. But just lines, and like when the store has like clothes everywhere, I'll just be like, man, I'll be back next year. Since I kept kids, I don't have that luxury. So for as far as memories, man, we didn't have crazy, like, our parents didn't have a lot of money. We're poor for like my whole life. Various stages of poverty. We went from like well below the poverty line to closer to the poverty line to right at the poverty line to a little bit better than, I mean, it just steadily went up as we got older. As my parents, you know, as my mom married my dad, that was huge for us. Shout out to my mom for marrying a guy in the military. So that was big. And then, like, as he rose in the military, life got easier. But when we were kids, when Christmas is the most important, when you're little, and like the day, for a kid, it's like the day, Christmas Day, when you go outside, it's the what did you get? And which I hated because we never had nothing. It's like, what did you get? Oh, I got Ninja Turtles blimp. I got a bike. I got this, that. And I would never have a list of things. It'd be like, one time my dad, this is when I knew we didn't have much. I don't know where my dad got the toy from, but he got me a Batman coupe. And it said on the toy box, first of all, the little plastic that covers the Batman was like lifted. And I was like, this is weird. But it was like Batman coupe with man. And the Batman was not there. And my dad was like, man, I got these from the Salvation Army. I'm sorry. I hope you enjoy it. And I didn't even really care. The car was so cool, I didn't even need the man. Like, I would have loved to like have the man to put in and close the top. Because it was one where the top opened and you could like put the man in there and close the top. But I didn't have the Batman, so I just had put another man in there, and just like that was his car. Sorry, Batman, we couldn't get the whole package. But I remember that. I remember one year, I want to say I was in maybe 6th or 7th grade. We had a lot of my family come. My uncle, my grandma. We were in North Carolina. I don't know how they got there, but they came for Christmas. And this is how I got my present. My grandma pulled me in my room. And when I went in my room, there was a sweater laying on my bed. And you know this is how you don't have much for Christmas. The first thing she said is, I know we don't have much. And that's how you alleviate the potential disappointment from a kid. Because you say, look, I know we don't have much, but you know, we're giving you this gift with love. It was like the most terrible sweater ever. Never wore it. But I wasn't mad. I just was happy my family was there. I knew we didn't have much. I wasn't expecting. I remember I was asking for NBA Live. So I must have been 14, Live 97. And I was like, yeah, and I put signs up for it, and then I got a sweater, and I was just like, all right, Live 98, maybe next year. But I wasn't really tripping, man. Like, when you come from nothing, you don't, I feel like you're more grateful for stuff because you just, I never had a Christmas where it was just like toys. Actually, one Christmas, take that back. One Christmas, my dad gave my sister and I, this is when Jason didn't live with us, a really big box. And the one box was decorated Christmassy. It's probably the one time I had Christmas like a lot of kids had every year. But it was like a huge, like, moving box. He had decorated the top, and it had a top, decorated the entire box, and it was wrapped in gift paper. And then the top was too. He took the box out, and there was like 20 toys in there. And me and my sister, like, she got an easy bake oven. I got all kinds of stuff. And I was just like, man, this is dope. And that was it. Next year was back to poorness. I don't know what my dad did, saved his income tax or whatever. That was the first year I think we moved away from El Paso. So maybe he was just like, look, we gotta dig deep on this one because this is their first year away from El Paso, away from their family and friends. I should ask him about that. So I'm gonna go hard. So he gave us a box of all these types of toys. So that was dope. I also got asked about family traditions. We had some stuff we did, but nothing we did every year. You know, some families go and look at lights. When you're in the military, you don't, every place you live doesn't have the same thing. So like, if we grew up in El Paso and every year the same neighborhood did like lights, then we could go there. But then we moved to Virginia and North Carolina, and then you just don't know where the stuff is. So you can't go if you don't know. So we never really had any family tradition. Sometimes we had game night the night before. Sometimes I helped my mom or grandma cook. Sometimes none of that. I just remember good Christmases, but nothing like, you know, we're gonna open presents. Like some year we did, you can open one present the night before. You know, some people do that every year. Some people do like Christmas breakfast at their uncle's house and dinner at somebody else's house. That type of stuff is a lot easier when you live in the same place your whole life. And we moved around a lot, so we never had any family traditions. For my family now, with Liz and the boys, we're trying to create some. So for this year, the first year, we went and got a Christmas tree, an actual Christmas tree. Back in Washington, we had a plastic tree, and we would just, you know, pull it out. It was just like one of those pre-lit things, so you didn't really decorate it. You just pulled it out, and it had like big gaps in where the light, like it didn't look like a tree. Like, yeah, a tree is full. This was like branch. It was like this. So, you know, we put toys under there, but it wasn't like beautiful. But this year we went actually to the Christmas tree farm this weekend. We picked out a tree with us and the boys, came home. My wife went ham on the decoration. The tree's like 7 foot. And we've never done it. We've never decorated a tree before. In my life, this is the first Christmas tree that I decorated in my house. My dad must have did it before, but this is like the first time I had done it. So my wife was like, we need our own traditions. And I was like, yes, you're right. And then like the Christmas tree was $105, and then the lights and like balls and all that stuff was like $250. And I was like, you know what, listen, those little plastic trees are not that bad. But more than the cost of the money, I want my kids to remember like going out and getting a tree, and it's more about what you do with your family than the gifts, right? And that's why for my kids' Christmas, I one of the traditions I want to do is like, instead of spending a whole bunch of money on gifts, I want to create memories for them. So that's why, like last year, we took them to Disneyland, because they're not going to remember the toys they had. Most of the kids' toys, we used to do the big couple $100 gifts for each boy, and like by New Year's, those toys are in the toy box with the other toys. If they make it, if they're not broken, the ones they really like get broken because they play with them more. The ones they don't like just get thrown into the toy box. So, you know, I'm just like, I'm not about to spend $2 and $3 and $4 and $5 and $6 and $7 and $800. I ain't never spent no $8, $2 or $3 for y'all to be either A, breaking the toys, or B, not playing with them. You can just be like, ooh, a Sonic, ooh, Iron Man, ooh, Spider-Man, ooh, wrestling ring. By 2 weeks, y'all ain't said ooh in 2 weeks. By the time they go back to school, they don't even touch these toys no more. And I done went and stood in a long line. I'm not about to do all that. So last year we took them to Disneyland and then took them to Las Vegas. We stayed at Circus. They saw circus clowns and like all the acts and stuff in the Midway. And then we went to you know, on Cable Guy when the Knights did the stuff. I can't think of what it's called, but the Excalibur show where the Knights of the Round Table, I think it is, where they have like the swords and the horses and the battles and stuff, King Arthur thing. We took them there. Like, my hope is that, although they may not remember, and they may not remember these either, but we got pictures and video. That was my phone being shady. But yeah, we got pictures and video, so I'm not taking no picture of no toy, but we got pictures of us at Knights of the Round Table, make some videos, and that's why I use YouTube, just to bribe them, just to blackmail them when I get older. When they start saying, man, what did y'all do